Okay. Uh, William T. Riker. File. William Thomas Riker. Full biography mode. Rank. Captain. Serial number SC231 427. Full name. William Thomas Riker. Date of birth. August 19th, 2335. Education. Starfleet Academy. 2353 57. Date of death. Awards. (2358). An ensign first assigned to USS Pegasus test project under Captain Eric Pressman. 2361. As a lieutenant stationed with Starfleet detachment on Beta Z. 2362. Assassin assigned to USS Potemkin, decorated to rescue of ship under of ship away team Nervella for 6 weeks later and promoted to lieutenant. Commander transferring from operations to commander division. Named first officer of USS Hood under Captain Robert DeSoto. 2364. Promoted to commander, named first officer of USS Enterprise by Captain Jean-Luc Picard. 2366. Temporary field promotion to captain by Admiral Hansen during Borg crisis. 2369. Accidental double retaining rank of lieutenant from Nervalla for crisis assigned to USS Guernsey and used middle name Thomas. 2370. Temporary detained due to early involvement with Pegasus project. Dropped. 2371. Riker twin resigned to Starfleet to join Maquis led raid on Oasis 3, captured USS Defiant and imprisoned by Cardassians. Upon capture. 2372. Transferred with the remainder of Picard's senior staff to Surveillance class USS Enterprise. 2373. During an attempt to repair Borg temporal sabotage, with Earth's first contact, acts as replacement. Fights crew for Zephyr Cochrane's Phoenix warp test. Professional assignment. Reports to Starfleet Command Review Board. Enterprise second officer data once estimated that Riker used traditional tactics only at 21% of time after winning assignment. Through the Academy, Riker began acquiring this long reputation for orthodox solution when during simulation. He figured out Tholian ship sensors blinding spots for the use of hiding places. Riker finished 8th in graduation class. One fellow cadet was Paul Rice, who would later fall victim to the computer weapons system on planet Minos. As ensign, his first assignment, Riker had served with now Admiral Pressman on the test ship USS Pegasus and proved pivotal in defending his captain against a rare Starfleet mutiny before the only handful of other escaped. Shortly after the ship destruction during the test project, only in 2370, Pressman's renegade cloaking experiment unmasked and Riker detained. Briefly in a completely but cleared later station on Beta, his mission there ended in 2362, with postponing pro, posting that would launch a rapid rise in his career. Sent to the USS Pumpkin in 2362 as lieutenant. He proved orthodox again in avoiding a confidant hanging over the planet, Magpul confused and opposing the ship's sensors. Only 6 weeks after coming aboard, he barely escaped from Nervala 4, where his rescued crewmates led to promotion and switched from operations to command division, where he eventually became the first officer of the USS Hood under Robert De Soto. During this stay, he was offered his first command on a light cruiser USS Drake, but turned it down. For there, he was promoted to commander of and picked sightseeing from among 50 candidates by Jean-Luc Picard. As his first officer on the new Galaxy-class USS Enterprise, in fact, there were two that had not met until his sight aboard at Farport Station. After he was dropped off by USS Hood, Riker grew so satisfied with his assignment under Picard, who quickly dubbed his number one according to the old Terran naval balance. He twice turned down more commands of his own. Once the frontier scout ship USS Iris in 2365, and again to the ill-fated USS Melbourne a year later, all through he temporarily had field promotion to captain during the Borg crisis of 2366 and 67 during Picard's abduction. Ironically, he likely would have died on the Melbourne during the Borg massacre of Wharf 359 and would not have been present to play a major role during the Enterprise last-ditch attack. Knowledgeable on the League issue, he was pressed into the President Starfleet case again, Data's independence at Starbase 173 and 2 years later, defendant first crewman Turtis, and then even Picard's before Admiral Satis inquired in 2367. He was the first human to serve aboard the first board Federation Klingon exchange program in 2365, where he showed a knowledge of their culture, become one of the obtain Picard's surrender. He had been given temporary command of the USS Excalibur and Picard's blockage fleet against Romulan involvement in the Klingon Civil War of 2367 and 68. But Admiral Nechayev passed over by placing Captain Jellicoe in command during Picard's abduction by the Cardassian in 2369. But any disagreement led to Riker being temporarily relieved of duty until he was called back to Jellicoe's Cardassian negotiation. Riker later toured years on Galaxy-class Enterprise were filed with more surprises, aside being drugged and made nearly insane by the Tolonians, captured and nearly killed by experimental Malconian on the first contact Regan based aliens, and revealed his role in the Pegasus incident. And he discovered the duplicates of himself created a transporter fluke in the Novella 4 mission. Ironically, the two clashed in a temporal found Riker his own restless career in Gandhi before assigned during the Maquis rebel soon capture the Cardassian in a useless theme of USS Defiant from Deep Space Nine. Riker, meanwhile, again had no thoughts of his own. Command and joined Picard and senior staff aboard the new Sovereign class Enterprise. Through the incident had been classified, Riker also had satisfaction joining Chief Engineer Geordi LaForge in the cockpit of Zephyrin Cochrane's warp test vehicle, the Phoenix, during an effort to repair the temporal damage caused by the Borg invaders in 2373. Figure profile report of ship's consular Deanna Troi. Although Riker had displayed a well-rounded personal and temporal thoughts of his rising command career, his mother's death, he was only to help foster and nearly 15 years separation of his father at age 15, when he left home and had deeply missed his mother, but came at the distance of his father erected between them and his own men's grief. Their relationship resorted to an ongoing competition in the activities such as fishing trips, where he manifested himself in the martial arts and jiu-jitsu and worked the problems. The two began then a reapproach in 2365 during the representing encounter when Riker discovered his father and nearly died in a Tholian attack at 2253. That were finally resolved into Tholian Civil War, colon and Iron Boots, who was commander in 102 in New York at the Battle of Pine Mountain, serving in Gent Westminster, March, Atlanta, 1864. He was his front of the lines and had not survived. Riker's knack for improvisation runs through his hobbies, interests, and as well. A master of poker player and bluff, he leaned the game during his brief stint of the USS Potemkin His reputation won him the role of placement in the Federation navigation during the short-lived Barzan wormhole. He also visited Quark's bar and casino in Deep Space Nine, where his first year in operations under Starfleet Bajoran administration. He can play keyboard, but his favorite musical instrument is the trombone. Loves the jazz, but has played numerous shipboard functions. He is displayed in his quarters, living loaned his old boyhood instrument to Riker, and also displayed Rising whom Picard once brought him, as well as a fishing reel. Under Dr. Crusher, his acting talents have increased greatly since something of a preface in 2369 until his riveting frame of mind performance only weeks later. Cooking in his only hobby, thanks to the necessity of a father who hated to do it, and his language skills, including basic Ferengi and Klingon. Generally, his claim to be an excellent organizing his time and probably preferred to let the event happen unplanned. Riker had a strong libido of it, aside for encountering made a line of duties such as on Angel 1 and Tolian 4, and for a satirical romantic relationship, including the enhanced Hollow Woman Minuet and the Doom Assassin Eulita, and colonized Carmina Delimina, turn of the normally ignorant Janae, for whom he raised the court martial over prime directive charges. His encounter nearly cost him his murder sentence on Tuna 4, and after a rising resort visit, the Katerian takeover Starfleet thought a mind control device. Additionally, his instant row engagement in a love-hated work relationship, especially exposed during the memory blank incident of 2368, and his effort to speak in her behalf when she was presumed dead later in the year. See below. Despite his normally robust outlook, Riker had been prone to short bouts and robust doubt regarding his perceived capacity towards ambition. Each time he debated and turned down his own ship command, imposing physical pretense and having understanded meant to effective communications with some command, especially junior officers, and he has taken steps to deal with it. File medical report by Beverly Crusher, MD, CMO. Riker generally enjoys good health. If being a glance at Smyrna proved a nearly fatal, but for price directly neurocurrent therapy, he still enjoys precise squares, medical warning, the transfer Cleon Bethlet in his sticks, and studies in war classes. He do not care about inquiring does include during Earth, Alaska, due to the conflicts entirely being alternate strategic medical rare. Aside for his complete family relationship, Riker major romance involves Dr. Counselor Deanna Troi, who became on him anxiety, and the native word for beloved. After they met during his Beta mission, he had last seen her there in the day before he shipped out on the USS Pumpkin, but it would 2 years before they reunited on the USS Enterprise. Unbeknownst to Picard's, they planned to get 6 months after the departure on Nervada 4. Incident charts that changed that in his early feelings that it gets still seen on his twin, Thomas Riker. A warm friendship for Troi in the later years occasionally blossomed into romance. Thomas Riker, professional warm friendships for Troi. In a later year, that occasionally blossomed in their romance, but they generally stayed platonic. All through Worf's surprising courtship of her in 2370 seemed to have never had settled with them. On a later level, it was hinted that to find Riker commanding a refit Enterprise as captain in 20 years, but disturbed to discover that in my chief security officer Worf had crashed over his affections for Deanna Troi. All through the future timeline showed to me to be the Q entity in the late 20th century. Owing the temptation of nature future, I choose to share these development of the officers involving the confident future was not immovable in the case of void problem. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss the next video. You won't want to miss the next video.